The Story of Ancient Egypt. Chapter 12. Life along the Nile. One invention transformed Egypt forever. Writing. Around 3200 BC, Egyptians developed hieroglyphics. Hundreds of beautiful symbols represented sounds, words, and ideas. These symbols decorated temples, monuments, statues, and tombs. Professional writers called scribes became some of the most respected people in society. Very few Egyptians could read or write. Because of this, scribes handled taxes, government records, trade agreements, military reports, and religious texts. Education for scribes was demanding. Students copied symbols for hours every day. Mistakes were punished. Success brought prestige and wealth. Without writing, Egypt's powerful government could never have managed such a vast kingdom. Chapter 14. Religion and the Afterlife. Religion influenced every decision Egyptians made. They believed every human possessed several spiritual parts. The Ka represented life energy. The Ba represented personality. After death, these spirits had to reunite with the preserved body. To reach eternal life, the deceased faced the judgment of Osiris. In the Hall of Truth, the heart of the dead was weighed against the feather of Ma'at. If the heart remained light and pure, the soul entered paradise. If heavy with sin, it was devoured by the terrifying creature Ammit. This belief encouraged honesty, kindness, and justice throughout Egyptian society. Chapter 15. The Secret of Mummification. Preserving the body became essential. The process was long and expensive. First, priests carefully removed internal organs. The lungs, liver, stomach, and intestines were preserved inside special jars called canopic jars. The brain was removed through the nose using delicate instruments. The heart usually remained inside the body because Egyptians believed it contained intelligence and emotion. Next, the body was covered with natron, a natural salt that removed moisture. For 40 days, the body slowly dried. Afterward, priests wrapped it with hundreds of meters of linen. Protective amulets were placed between the layers. Finally, beautiful masks covered the face. The mummy was placed inside richly decorated coffins. Everything the deceased might need in the afterlife, food, clothing, jewelry, furniture, weapons, and even pets, was buried alongside them. For Egyptians, death was only another beginning. Chapter 16. Egypt reaches greatness. As centuries passed, Egypt grew richer and more powerful. Trade expanded across Africa, Asia, and the Mediterranean. Gold mines in Nubia filled royal treasuries. Luxury goods arrived from distant kingdoms. The pharaoh's authority became stronger than ever. Massive temples honored the gods. New cities flourished. Art, science, mathematics, and engineering reached remarkable heights. Egypt had become one of the world's greatest civilizations. Yet no kingdom remains powerful forever. Political struggles began. Local governors gained influence. Some pharaohs proved weak. The central government slowly lost control. For the first time in centuries, Egypt entered a period of uncertainty. Its golden age was beginning to fade, but an even greater era still awaited. A new generation of legendary rulers would rise. Warriors, queens, builders, and among them would stand one of history's greatest pharaohs. Ramesses the Great. Chapter 17. The Rise of the New Kingdom. After years of political instability and foreign invasions, Egypt refused to disappear. Around 1550 BC, Egyptian rulers from the city of Thebes drove out the Hyksos, a foreign people who had ruled northern Egypt for over a century. The victory marked the beginning of the New Kingdom, the most powerful era in Egyptian history. Unlike earlier pharaohs who focused mainly on building pyramids, the rulers of the New Kingdom created a military empire. They expanded Egypt's borders into Nubia in the south, and deep into the lands of Syria and Canaan in the north. Gold, silver, ivory, timber, and precious stones flowed into Egypt from conquered territories. For the first time, Egypt became an international superpower. Chapter 18. Hatshepsut, the woman who became Pharaoh. Among Egypt's greatest rulers was someone few expected, a woman. Her name was Hatshepsut. Although women in Egypt had rights that were unusual for the ancient world, becoming pharaoh was almost unheard of. To strengthen her authority, Hatshepsut adopted the traditional symbols of kingship. She wore the royal crown. She even appeared in statues wearing the ceremonial false beard of the pharaoh. Instead of leading endless wars, Hatshepsut focused on trade and construction. She sent a famous expedition to the mysterious land of Punt, bringing back gold, incense, ebony, exotic animals, and rare plants. She also built magnificent temples, including her stunning mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari, carved into towering cliffs. Under her rule, Egypt enjoyed peace and prosperity. Chapter 19. The Warrior Pharaohs. Not every pharaoh sought peace. Some became legendary warriors. Among them was Thutmose III, ancient Egypt. He led more than a dozen military campaigns and expanded Egypt's empire farther than ever before. His victories brought incredible wealth. Captured cities paid tribute. Merchants traveled safely across Egyptian-controlled lands. The army became one of the strongest forces in the ancient world. Egypt's soldiers fought with bronze swords, spears, bows, shields, and powerful horse-drawn chariots. Their military strength made neighboring kingdoms fear the power of the pharaoh. Chapter 20. Akhenaten's Religious Revolution. One pharaoh attempted something no ruler had dared before. His name was Akhenaten. For centuries, Egyptians had worshipped hundreds of gods. But Akhenaten declared that only one god deserved worship, the sun disk, Aten. He ordered temples dedicated to other gods to close. He even moved the capital to a brand new city built especially for his new religion. Many priests and nobles strongly opposed these changes. After Akhenaten's death, his religious revolution quickly collapsed. The old gods returned. His city was abandoned. His name was erased from many monuments. It was as though Egypt wanted to forget he had ever existed. Chapter 21. The Boy King, Tutankhamun. One of the most famous pharaohs ruled for only a short time. Tutankhamun became king at around 9 years old. Guided by advisors, he restored Egypt's traditional religion. Unfortunately, his reign lasted only about 10 years before he died unexpectedly. For centuries, Tutankhamun remained forgotten. Then, in 1922, British archaeologist Howard Carter made one of history's greatest discoveries. Hidden beneath the sands of the Valley of the Kings was Tutankhamun's nearly untouched tomb. Inside were more than 5,000 priceless artifacts, objects, golden chariots, jewelry, weapons, furniture, statues, and the breathtaking solid gold funeral mask that became one of the world's most recognizable treasures. Unlike most royal tombs, which had been robbed long ago, Tutankhamun's burial chamber preserved an incredible glimpse into ancient Egyptian life. Chapter 22. Ramesses the Great. Perhaps no pharaoh better symbolized Egypt's greatness than Ramesses II, also known as Ramesses the Great. He ruled for an astonishing 66 years. During his reign, enormous temples rose across Egypt. The magnificent temples of Abu Simbel, carved directly into solid rock, demonstrated the empire's power. Ramesses fought many battles, including the famous Battle of Kadesh, one of history's earliest well-documented military conflicts. Although neither side achieved a decisive victory, the battle eventually led to one of the world's first known peace treaties. Ramesses lived into old age and fathered more than 100 children. His name became legendary throughout the ancient world. Chapter 23. Science, Medicine, and Engineering. Ancient Egypt was more than pyramids and temples. Egyptian doctors performed surprisingly advanced medical treatments. They treated broken bones, stitched wounds, used herbal medicines, and even carried out basic surgical procedures. Mathematicians calculated land boundaries after the Nile floods. Engineers designed irrigation systems that increased food production. astronomers carefully observed the stars. Their calendar of 365 days influenced later civilizations. Many achievements that shaped the modern world can trace their roots back to ancient Egypt. Chapter 24. The Last Queen, Cleopatra. By the 1st century BC, Egypt was no longer the dominant empire it once had been. Foreign powers had grown stronger. The mighty Roman Republic now controlled much of the Mediterranean. Into this changing world stepped Cleopatra VII, Egypt's final pharaoh. Highly educated and fluent in several languages, Cleopatra was an intelligent diplomat. She formed powerful alliances with Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony in hopes of protecting Egypt's independence. But Rome was changing. After defeating Antony and Cleopatra at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, Octavian, the future Emperor Augustus, marched into Egypt. According to ancient accounts, Cleopatra died in 30 BC, ending the rule of the pharaohs forever. Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire. More than 3,000 years of independent Egyptian civilization had come to an end. Chapter 25. The Legacy of Ancient Egypt. Although the kingdom fell, ancient Egypt never truly disappeared. Its monuments survived. Its language was eventually deciphered through the discovery of the Rosetta Stone. Its architecture continues to inspire engineers and architects. Its art fascinates millions. Its myths continue to appear in books, movies, and television. Every year, millions of visitors travel to Egypt to stand before the Great Pyramids, the Sphinx, Luxor Temple, Karnak, and the Valley of the Kings. Even after 5,000 years, these incredible structures remind humanity of what determination, imagination, and engineering can achieve. Conclusion. Ancient Egypt was far more than a civilization of pyramids. It was a civilization of dreamers, of builders, of scientists, of artists, of warriors, and of people who believed that life was only the beginning of an eternal journey. Their achievements transformed human history. Writing, advanced medicine, mathematics, engineering, astronomy, and architecture long before many other civilizations emerged. Empires rose. Empires fell. But ancient Egypt left behind something greater than an empire. It left behind a legacy that still shapes our world today. As the golden sun sets over the Nile, the pyramids continue to watch silently across the desert. They have witnessed thousands of years of history, and perhaps they still guard secrets that humanity has yet to discover. The end.